Welcome to another journey through literature. Today we're delving deep into Robert Louis Stevenson's enduring classic, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
hmm
Our specific focus for this discussion is Chapter 9, famously titled Dr. Lanyon's Narrative, a pivotal turning point in the entire novel.
Oh, absolutely. This chapter is, without exaggeration, a cornerstone of the entire narrative. It's really where the veil is finally ripped away.
Right.
It offers us the first direct eyewitness account of the central, horrifying mystery that has haunted us and Mr. Utterson throughout the story.
Yeah, that sense of mystery's just been building and building.
Exactly. So, our mission today is to meticulously unpack the revelations contained within Lanyon's confession. We need to understand its intricate contributions to the novel's plot, its profound thematic explorations, and the tragic development of its characters.
And all seen through Lanyon's eyes, this very rational man.
All of this, seen through the eyes of an utterly astonished and ultimately broken observer. You'll find that what Lanyon reveals here doesn't merely advance the story, it fundamentally shatters the very foundations of the characters and indeed the reader's understanding of reality and human nature itself.
That sets the stage perfectly.
Okay.
Let's unpack the path that leads us here to Lanyon's narrative. If you recall, the previous chapter, The Last Night, left us reeling, didn't it?
It really did. A huge cliffhanger.
Yeah, Mr. Utterson, our persistent lawyer, along with Dr. Jekyll's long-suffering but now deeply fearful butler, Poole.
Poor Paul. He knew something was terribly wrong.
He did. They had just taken the dramatic step of breaking into Jekyll's private laboratory. They were propelled by Poole's escalating fear and a gnawing suspicion that something truly terrible had befallen his master.
You could feel the tension ratcheting up.
Totally. And what they found there was genuinely shocking. The lifeless body of Mr. Hyde, seemingly having taken his own life.
A shocking discovery, but still no Jekyll.
But Dr. Jekyll, the man they desperately hoped to find, was nowhere to be seen. Instead, they discovered a series of significant documents. Among them, a letter from Jekyll himself, which contained a very specific instruction for Utterson. First, to read a sealed statement left by their mutual friend, Dr. Lanyon.
The letter Utterson wasn't supposed to open until Jekyll's death or disappearance.
Exactly. And that brings us directly to Chapter 9, which is Lanyon's direct first-person account of the unspeakable.
Absolutely. And the central, agonizing question that has permeated the atmosphere of the novel, haunting Utterson's every step and vexing us as readers.
The connection between Jekyll and Hyde.
The true enigmatic connection between Dr. Jekyll and the abhorrent Mr. Hyde is finally definitively answered here.
It's a huge moment.
It is. And this chapter performs a really dramatic narrative shift. For most of the novel, we've experienced events through Utterson's third-person limited perspective, right?
Following his investigation.
Observing his external investigation, his deductions, his growing dread. Now we are abruptly plunged into Dr. Lanyon's deeply personal first-person confession.
It feels so immediate.
It does, and this isn't just a stylistic choice. It's a crucial structural decision by Stevenson. By presenting the most unbelievable supernatural events through the direct, unmediated testimony of Lanyon,
The ultimate rationalist.
a man known for his rigid scientific rationality, his unwavering adherence to empirical fact, and his disdain for anything he considers fanciful or, famously, unscientific balderdash.
Yeah.
Stevenson lends an undeniable, almost terrifying credibility to the impossible events Lanyon describes. It is precisely because Lanyon, the very embodiment of Victorian scientific reason, is the one recounting this fantastical, horrifying transformation that its impact on the reader, and indeed on Utterson, is so profoundly unsettling and utterly convincing.
His breakdown becomes our breakdown.
Exactly. His horror becomes our horror. It validates the impossible.
That narrative shift to Lanyon's perspective truly sets the stage, doesn't it? So when we dive into that letter, Lanyon's narrative itself, what's the very first thing it tells us about Jekyll's state of mind? What kind of plea is this that he makes to his estranged friend?
Well, the chapter immediately plunges us into the urgency of the situation. Lanyon begins his account by describing an urgent, truly desperate letter he received from Jekyll.
Not just a casual note, then.
Oh, not at all. And this communication is incredibly revealing. It offers us immediate insight into Jekyll's extreme psychological state and his desperate motivation. He isn't simply asking for a favor.
No.
He's pleading for a lifetime favor, indicating in no uncertain terms that his life and honor depend entirely on Lanyon's mercy.
Life and honor, that's huge in Victorian terms.
Absolutely. This is far from a casual request. It's a raw, agonizing cry for help from a man pushed to the absolute brink, utterly at the end of his tether.
Wow. So, thinking about character and psychology here, what does that show us?
Well, from the perspective of character, psychology, and motivation, this letter completely strips away Jekyll's carefully constructed facade. We see his extreme vulnerability and overwhelming fear laid bare.
No more composure?
None. The stakes aren't merely physical survival. His life and honor being at stake underscores the profound social and personal consequences of his hidden secret in that rigidly reputation-conscious Victorian society.
Everything rested on reputation.
Everything. Consider the Dr. Jekyll we knew, or thought we knew, at the beginning of the novel. Respected physician, man of standing, engaged in charitable works, proud of his professional and social position.
The picture of respectability.
Precisely. Now, he's reduced to begging a former friend, a man he had previously alienated with his controversial theories, for assistance in what can only be described as a desperate, last-ditch escape attempt.
It's a complete reversal.
His motivation at this point is pure, primal survival. A chilling testament to how completely he has lost control and how far he has fallen. It illustrates the total erosion of his dignity and the catastrophic failure of his experiment. It's a moment of profound degradation for a man who once prided himself on his self-control and intellectual prowess.
And Lanyon's immediate response to this isn't what you might expect, especially given his prior condemnation of Jekyll's fanciful science, which he famously dismissed as unscientific balderdash.
Right, you'd think he might just dismiss it.
Exactly. Can you walk us through the very specific instructions Jekyll gives Lanyon, and how Lanyon, despite his principles, meticulously carries them out? What are the fascinating, almost bizarre details that stand out in this part of the narrative?
It's truly a remarkable moment, actually. It shows that friendship, or perhaps duty, can override even deep intellectual disagreement. Lanyon, a man whose entire professional life is built on precise scientific methodology and rigid adherence to established principles,
And the ultimate empiricist.
meticulously details Jekyll's instructions. And they are, as you say, highly specific and utterly bizarre. Jekyll instructs Lanyon to go to his house at a precise time, meet with Poole, and then crucially force open the door to his cabinet.
Break in, essentially.
Break the lock if necessary, yes. Inside that private sanctuary, Lanyon is to retrieve a specific drawer containing some powders, solution, and a paper book,
He agreed.
and bring it back to his own residence at Candover Square by midnight. Very specific.
So, thinking about the narrative structure, how does this detailed recounting work?
Well, from the lens of narrative structure and perspective, this meticulous recounting of instructions, presented directly from Lanyon's first-person point of view, it grounds the extraordinary events that are about to unfold in a chilling sense of verifiable reality.
It makes it feel more real, more concrete.
Exactly. It reads almost like a scientific logbook, an unassailable record of a precise procedure. It builds a controlled, almost clinical environment for the reader before the supernatural bursts through the seams of Lanyon's rational world.
And the contents themselves, the powders, the solution, the book.
The very specific, detailed inventory of the contents, powders, solution, and a paper book introduces the core symbolism of Jekyll's transformation. These are the very tools of his forbidden science, the alchemical components of his monstrous double life.
The physical manifestation of his experiment.
Right. The powders imply chemical reactions, the solution a liquid form of consumption, and the paper book strongly suggests the meticulous yet morally corrupt records of his experiments, perhaps even the formula itself.
And the social context. Why all the secrecy and breaking in?
Well, from a social and historical context standpoint, the necessity for Jekyll to communicate such a convoluted clandestine plan through a letter, demanding absolute secrecy and even requiring a locksmith to break into his own private laboratory. It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
About Victorian society, yeah.
About the intense Victorian emphasis on reputation, secrecy, and maintaining appearances at all costs. Any public exposure of such strange, illicit activities would utterly ruin him.
Social death.
Precisely. It reinforces that pervasive theme of the immense importance of social standing and reputation, even when one's very life hangs precariously in the balance. Lanyon's decision to follow these instructions, despite his intellectual contempt for Jekyll's perceived insanity, is a pivotal character moment.
It shows his loyalty, maybe.
It underscores his ingrained sense of duty, perhaps compassion, toward a desperate friend. It highlights the profound tension between his scientific rationalism and his deeply human loyalty. He follows the instructions to the letter, even though they must seem utterly mad to him.
It's incredible, isn't it, how Lanyon's methodical approach only amplifies the strangeness. So Lanyon, having followed these extraordinary instructions, eventually meets the messenger at midnight, a very deliberate time choice by Stevenson.
Oh yes, classic Gothic timing.
And here's where it gets truly unsettling. It's Mr. Hyde himself. How does Lanyon describe this chilling encounter and Hyde's appearance? The narrative mentions his shocking expression and disgusting nature, but I imagine Lanyon's personal reaction is even more profound.
The arrival of the messenger at the stroke of midnight is indeed a chilling turning point, perfectly chosen to heighten the suspense and Gothic atmosphere. Lanyon describes him with a kind of visceral shudder in his writing.
You can feel it.
You can, he says. A small man with a shocking expression on his face, disgusting, and known as Mr. Hyde. But the description goes further, and this is key.
The clothes.
Yes. Lanyon observes that the clothes Hyde wears are far too big for him. A subtle yet profoundly unsettling detail, almost comically grotesque. It serves as a powerful hint, doesn't it, at his intrinsic connection to Jekyll long before the full, horrifying revelation.
It's a visual giveaway almost.
It really is. And looking at character, psychology, and motivation, Lanyon's immediate, deeply visceral reaction to hide that profound sense of disgust and inherent revulsion is entirely consistent with every other character's reaction throughout the novel.
Everyone feels it. Enfield, Utterson.
Everyone. It's a primal response that transcends mere physical ugliness. It suggests an almost spiritual or moral deformity, an inherent evil that repels all who encounter it. It's as if Hyde radiates an aura of pure malevolence.
And Lanyon knows who Hyde is, beyond just being Jekyll's associate.
Crucially, yes. The narrative emphasizes that Lanyon also recognizes Mr. Hyde as the murderer of Sir Crewe. This adds a horrifying layer of dread and moral weight to this already chilling encounter.
So he knows he's dealing with a killer.
Exactly. This recognition elevates Hyde from a mere enigmatic figure to an embodiment of violent criminality, intensifying Lanyon's unease and foreboding, even before the main event.
And what about the setting and imagery here? Midnight, the clothes?
Well, in terms of symbolism, imagery, and setting, the choice of midnight itself is highly significant. It's the traditional hour for supernatural occurrences, for the breaking of daylight's rational order, perfectly enhancing the mysterious and sinister mood.
Sets the scene perfectly.
And Hyde's ill-fitting clothes are much more than a simple descriptive detail. They serve as powerful imagery directly foreshadowing his shared physical existence with Jekyll. These are Jekyll's clothes, right?
Right.
Outaged, comically large, and absurdly draped on Hyde's more diminutive, twisted, and seemingly primitive form. This visual incongruity subtly but forcefully alerts the perceptive reader, and perhaps Lanyon subconsciously, to the coming truth. It reveals the unnaturalness and grotesque nature of Hyde's existence as an offshoot of Jekyll.
Like a borrowed skin.
Exactly. It underscores the idea of a stolen or borrowed identity, physically manifested.
So Lanyon, having meticulously followed these bizarre instructions, finally stands face to face with Hyde. We've been built into this moment throughout the novel, and then the transformation occurs. Describe that horrific unfolding and Lanyon's reaction. What does it do to him? Seeing this impossible act unfold before his very eyes. The source indicates he's terribly horrified, exclaiming, "Oh, God."
This is it. This is truly the climax within Lanyon's narrative. It's the horrific, impossible reveal that utterly shatters the novel's central mystery and everything Lanyon and the reader believed about the natural order.
Moment of truth.
A moment of horrifying truth. Lanyon recounts, in chilling, meticulous detail, how Hyde takes the powders from the drawer, mixes them with other chemicals he has brought, a vial of blood-red liquid, Lanyon notes, and drinks the concoction.
He just downs it.
He does, almost eagerly, defiantly even. And then, before Lanyon's very eyes, a sight that defied all reason and science. Hyde convulses, his features melt and run like wax, his body contorts violently, and he staggers into Dr. Henry Jekyll.
Unbelievable.
And the narrative describes Lanyon as terribly horrified by this unspeakable sight, driven to the point of exclaiming, "Oh God!" You can almost hear the gasp, the shattering of his composure.
The scientific mind confronting the impossible.
Precisely. The sheer visual of the potion changing colors, from that deep dark red to a vivid, almost boiling green, and the raw physical agony of the transformation. It would have been an indescribable, grotesque display of unnatural science, a violation of flesh and spirit.
And this proves the central theme, doesn't it?
It's the ultimate, explicit proof of the novel's central theme, the duality of human nature. It unequivocally confirms that Jekyll and Hyde is one and the same person. The abstract philosophical concept of man's inherent dual nature, a good side and a darker, often suppressed bad side, is here manifested physically unequivocally before Lanyon.
No longer theoretical.
Not at all. This doesn't just shatter his traditional scientific worldview, it shatters his entire understanding of reality itself, of what is possible within the natural and moral world. It's not simply a scientific anomaly or curiosity, it's a profound moral and existential horror that he, as a man of rational science and deeply held Victorian values, cannot possibly reconcile.
And the impact on Lanyon himself.
Yeah.
Psychologically.
Oh, devastating. From the perspective of character, psychology, and motivation, Lanyon's reaction is one of profound shock, utter devastation, and irreversible trauma. He immediately states in his letter that he knows that he would not survive for a long time. He feels his life is shaken to its roots.
He knows it's fatal.
He knows. The trauma of witnessing such a radical, unscientific, and morally abhorrent event utterly breaks him mentally and physically. His rapid decline and subsequent death, which we know happens shortly after he writes this letter, aren't mere coincidences.
They're a direct result.
They emphasize the destructive, even fatal power of confronting absolute evil and the terrifying unknown. For a man whose entire life has been built on rational, observable science, this vision represents the ultimate philosophical crisis. It proves his entire understanding of the universe to be incomplete, even dangerously naive. It is the ultimate price for knowledge he did not seek and could not comprehend.
And the symbolism of the transformation itself.
In terms of symbolism and imagery, the transformation is the most powerful and horrifying symbol in the book, really. It represents the catastrophic consequence of attempting to artificially separate the inherent good and evil within humanity. Stevenson masterfully uses sensory details, though often implied through Lanyon's reaction.
Like the sounds.
Exactly. The dismal screech, as of a mere animal terror, mentioned in the context of Chapter 8 when Poole hears things in the lab, can be profoundly linked to the sound accompanying such a primal and unnatural shift. It reinforces Hyde's primitive, bestial nature and the profound agony of the transformation.
And how Jekyll appears afterwards.
Yes, the imagery of Jekyll groping before him with his hands like a man restored from death after the transformation. It further emphasizes the unnatural, almost Frankenstein-like creation of Hyde from Jekyll's own being. This suggests not just a transformation, but a violation of life and natural order.
Like raising the dead.
Something like that. A blasphemous act that literally brings something akin to death, or at least a grotesque mockery of life, into being. This is also where those Victorian anxieties about evolution, about the ape within man, might subtly resonate, as Hyde embodies a regression to a more primitive, unrestrained state.
It's almost too much for Lanyon to bear, a truth that literally kills him. And what's particularly fascinating, and a stroke of narrative genius, I think, is that even after witnessing this earth-shattering event, Lanyon maintains a certain level of secrecy.
That's a crucial point.
He refuses to fully divulge the entirety of Jekyll's subsequent explanation. He states, "He cannot bring my mind to set on paper what he was told in the hour that followed." What does this deliberate withholding of information tell us about the profound nature of this secret and its devastating impact?
That's precisely right. It's a powerful and deeply unsettling narrative choice by Stevenson. Lanyon explicitly states that Jekyll proceeded to explain everything to him after the horrific transformation, revealing the full scope, the why of his experiment.
The full confession.
Yet Lanyon immediately adds that he cannot bring my mind to set on paper what he was told in that subsequent hour. This deliberate withholding of information by Lanyon, even within a confession meant to reveal all, deepens the mystery rather than fully solving it, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you lean in even more.
It underscores the unspeakable, almost sacred horror of the revelation. It suggests that some truths are simply too terrible, too fundamentally destabilizing, too alien to human reason to be transcribed into language or even fully comprehended by a rational mind.
Some things you just can't write down.
Apparently so. This choice vividly demonstrates the profound impact of the secrecy surrounding Jekyll's experiment. Lanyon, despite meticulously documenting the physical transformation, still cannot fully articulate the psychological and philosophical depths of what he learns.
It's too much for him.
It reflects not only his personal debilitating trauma, but also, perhaps, that intense societal pressure in Victorian London to suppress unsavory truths and maintain appearances. It's a secret that literally kills him because he cannot reconcile it with his rational, moral framework. The burden of this forbidden knowledge is simply too immense for his psyche.
And how does this withholding work structurally, in terms of the narrative?
Oh, from the lens of narrative structure and perspective, by having Lanyon refuse to reveal everything, the author skillfully builds anticipation for the final, ultimate chapter, Henry Jekyll's full statement of the case.
Where Jekyll himself speaks.
Exactly. This is where Jekyll's own unfiltered and deeply personal confession will finally provide the complete why behind the what we've just witnessed through Lanyon's eyes. This masterful, staggered revelation keeps the reader intensely engaged, perpetually seeking the full, unvarnished truth directly from the source.
It maximizes the impact.
It does. It transforms the narrative from a simple reveal into a layered unfolding of horror, consequence, and profound psychological exploration. We get Lanyon's horrified what, which prepares us for Jekyll's why.
So Chapter 9 serves as this critical pivot point. What does it ultimately contribute to the novel's overall plot and our comprehensive understanding of the core conflict? This seems to be where everything really snaps into focus.
Indeed, this chapter is definitively positioned as the falling action, immediately following the novel's climax in Chapter 8, where Hyde's lifeless body is discovered. It's the pivotal point where the principal mystery, the central enigma of the novel, is unequivocally and definitively solved through Lanyon's first-hand eyewitness account.
The proof Utterson needed.
It provides the crucial link that Mr. Utterson, our dedicated investigator, has been desperately seeking throughout the entire narrative. It explicitly confirms once and for all that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are, horrifyingly, one and the same person.
So how does it change the story's direction?
In terms of its role in the overall plot, Chapter 9 fundamentally transforms the entire narrative. What began as perhaps a gothic detective story focused on uncovering the truth about the mysterious Mr. Hyde and his sinister connection to the respectable Dr. Jekyll.
The search for Hyde.
Now shifts dramatically into a profound psychological and moral drama. It explores the devastating, far-reaching consequences of Jekyll's forbidden actions.
The focus shifts inward, almost.
Precisely. This chapter solidifies the mounting suspense built during the rising action by unequivocally confirming the reader's deepest, most unsettling fears and Utterson's long-held suspicions. The core conflict of the novel, Jekyll's internal struggle between his good and evil selves, his desperate attempt to compartmentalize human nature, is now externalized, witnessed, and brutally confirmed.
We see the experiment's result.
We see its horrifying success and ultimate failure. This solidifies the destructive path he embarked upon, and Lanyon's subsequent death, which is directly attributed to the horrifying revelation he witnessed, also highlights the severe, even fatal consequences of challenging the natural order, transgressing moral boundaries, and pushing the limits of human understanding.
A cautionary tale.
A stark, visceral warning, yes, of the dangers of unchecked scientific ambition and profound moral transgression. This chapter, therefore, acts as a brutal, visceral answer to all the questions posed earlier. It shifts our focus from what is happening to why it happened, and perhaps more importantly, what are the implications of it all. It leaves us grappling with the consequences rather than just the mystery.
In essence, then, Chapter 9 is that profound moment where the veil is finally lifted and the true horror and sheer scale of Jekyll's experiment are revealed through the eyes of a trusted, rational witness. Lanyon's narrative doesn't just confirm the identity of Hyde, it underscores the profound, unnatural, and ultimately destructive nature of Jekyll's audacious pursuit of duality.
Precisely. Couldn't have said it better. This chapter unequivocally establishes the novel's core conflict as Jekyll's internal battle, now explicitly understood not as a metaphor, but as a physical, horrifying transformation.
Makes it real.
It makes it terrifyingly real. It powerfully solidifies the themes that resonate throughout the novel, the inherent duality of human nature, the terrifying cost of suppressed desires and unchecked ambition, and of course, the calamitous implications of science pursued without moral constraints.
Science versus morality.
A central tension. The Dr. Lanyon's narrative chapter serves as a stark, undeniable warning about the perils of tampering with fundamental human nature, revealing a truth so profound and horrifying that it literally kills the witness who perceives it.
A truth too terrible to live with.
It seems so, for Lanyon at least, and it masterfully sets the stage for the ultimate deeply personal confession from Dr. Jekyll himself in the final chapter. It leaves us with an agonizing anticipation for his own account, to finally understand the why behind this monstrous creation and its tragic, inevitable conclusion. What drove him to do it? That's the question we're left with.
Thank you for joining us on this literary journey. Hit subscribe and share to become part of our AI-human collaboration, where every listener helps shape future episodes.